So, you wanna learn how to speedrun scrap mechanic? Well, you're in luck, because in this video I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you have any questions or problems, head over to the scrap mechanic speedrunning Discord server, the subreddit, or just leave a comment down below. Whatever works best for you, really. Me and other amazing runners will do our best to help you out. Okay, let's start right off. So the very first thing you want to learn is actually right here at the start. In fact, it happens while you're still loading into the world even. Basically, while you're on the loading screen, you want to try to aim your camera to the side you want to go to. That is either towards the water pond with the shack, or towards the sun shakes in the spaceship. We'll get to these two choices in a second. So let's say I have the loading screen up right now. What I want to do is basically just keep rotating my mouse towards one side. After a few attempts, you'll get good enough at this that you'll get a feeling for how much you have to move your mouse to aim right where you want to go. Let me show you how it looks like in action. Basically, I click play, survival, new world, of course typing in some random name, and while we're loading in, I'm currently moving my mouse to the side a little bit. And as you can see, I am facing towards the spaceship. A good indicator of when to start moving your mouse is the noise that the fire makes. Basically, you can imagine that as soon as you hear the fire, you get control over your mechanic. And other than just looking around, you can also start walking. So while your screen is still fading away from black, you're already walking towards the spaceship. And this can save quite a few seconds. It's also very simple, so definitely something you should try out. Alright, so what's next? Well, you can either go inside the spaceship right here and grab these two sunshakes over there, which will guarantee that you won't run out of thirst or hunger during the run. And will also provide you with some emergency health. However, as you can imagine, this is a little bit slow. So when you're at the point that you want to start going for world record, you probably want to skip the sunshakes and go straight towards the shack over here. Same principle, you look in this direction and start running while you're still loading into the world. Alright, here's the next thing. You see, in the scrap mechanic you can actually walk around with your inventory open. And this also applies to the pause menu, which also isn't really a pause menu because it doesn't pause the game. Anyway, you have to first start walking and then open the menu, because you actually can't start walking with the inventory open. So just start walking towards your destination, press escape, options, gameplay, and select difficulty easy and physics simple 1. You should have just about the right amount of time to change your settings before arriving at the shack. However, I personally also like to switch my lift and hammer places with each other, and I'm having no trouble doing that as well during the run. Alright, so once you're here, you want to grab yourself one of these. And it's good to jump on the wheelbarrow while grabbing it. Then you can continue on through this hole in the fence. And now it's time to start sliding around. But if you're still learning how to slide around on the sled, then feel free to actually run a little bit further and only get on the sled around the first ruin right here. There's also usually a towboat right here, but not this time because I've had this world open for a few minutes. So let's place down our lift, put the roof on the lift, and place the lift to the side. It's faster than picking it up manually. Now you have to step on the roof and start hammering it forward. Be careful with third person, as it moves the point from which you're hitting. So instead of just going forward, your roof piece will actually start rotating around just like this. There's one more trick to sledding that we'll get to in a second. But right now there is a very important moment, because this is the point at which you start evaluating if it's worth keeping the run, or if perhaps you should reset. You see, for example, a world like this, with this gigantic hill over here, probably won't do for a great run, because getting over hills like this can be really time consuming, and it's also way easier to mess up. Also, notice how I'm hammering my sled a little bit in front of it, well, just as I was saying. If this happens to you, it's probably better to just pick it up on your lift and go on foot for a little bit. Also, notice that once I have some speed, I'm actually hammering slightly in front of the sled, because it still hits it. Now this right here is pretty much an essential part of every speedrunnable seed. You need to go and get yourself a toilet as well as a bunch of blocks. I personally prefer getting the mesh blocks, because you can not only see through them, but they also have slightly lower friction. They do take a bit longer to get though. You can technically get the blocks and the seat from the outpost near the entrance to the warehouse, but it's honestly better to just reset because the blocks you can find there are way heavier. Also, as you can see, this world is not speedrunnable because we don't have a 2-story warehouse, and there is a gigantic lake in front of us. And by the way, a warehouse or a burnt forest always spawns right in front of your spawn. Right here I'm not seeing a warehouse, so I'm guessing there is a burnt forest over there. It can be quite annoying to reset over and over again, especially because sometimes get really unlucky and don't get rolled many times in a row. But unfortunately, that's what speedrunning sandboxes is often like. Also, here's the tall world I was talking about earlier. As you can see, this world is not speedrun either, because we have a very tall warehouse. This one's looking promising so far. Also, this is a great opportunity to show you another trick with the sledding. By quickly switching to and from the hammer and spamming your hit button, you can travel way faster. It is, however, significantly harder, so you probably want to master regular sledding first. But the advantage is absolutely worth it. Even if you fall off a few times, the speed game probably makes up for it anyway. And it looks like we actually got ourselves a 2-story warehouse. This world actually wouldn't work because we didn't get a shack along the way, but it will do for the purpose of this tutorial. Wow, poor walk. I'm gonna report you guys to Peter. Now this is probably the last chance to set your difficulty and physics, so keep this in mind. I'm gonna turn on gun mode for the sake of this tutorial. Now, as you're approaching the warehouse, you want to identify which side the elevator is on. You can actually see it over there. You can usually see it on the side over there while you're approaching the warehouse. And of course, after a few runs, you just get used to where the elevator should be. Now, this part right here is a huge run killer because the tables can be pretty dang random. You can of course outrun them, but it can be really hard, which is why we play on easy mode. Strafing around though, you can dodge most of their tapes. It can be really hard though. Also, once you get up close, just strafe around them like this and they should not be able to shoot you. Although of course it becomes problematic with more than one toad bot. Sorry, I mean tape bot. Oh, one more important thing. If the tank on the side of your warehouse is vertical instead of horizontal like this one, there's a very high chance you'll have a red farm bot down near your entrance. So be very careful. Anyway, now comes the interesting part. And it's important that you practice this because sometimes you're under fire from tape bots while you're doing this. So what you want to do is place your lift right here. Put your toilet on it right here. Make sure it's right against the door. Hop into the toilet and go up on your lift and jump out right here at the top. Now you place your lift again right here and you place your toilet in it, but don't let go of the placing button yet. You want to drag it one block over to the side so it's out of the way. And now while still holding the placing button, you push the lift up. This will attach your toilet underneath your lift. Now hop into it and go down inside the elevator. Press the button once. While waiting for the warehouse to load, start building your box. You're gonna get a like spike like I just did right here. And this will be your signal that the warehouse is ready to be loaded. However, you probably first want to finish your box. It's actually really simple. It's just 6 by 6 by 6 on the outside. So as you can see, this is 6 blocks. We've got 6 by 6. We already have 1, so this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now it's just simple from here. Now this is an important step. Make sure that you remove your lift before entering the warehouse. Otherwise, you will lose your box. Now, press the button. And as you can see, we are inside the warehouse. Remember to close your box as well as crouch, because otherwise you might fall out of the box. And I'd honestly recommend keeping your crouch button pressed to minimize the chances of you falling out of the box. Now this is why I like the mesh block so much. Remember how I said that your point of view shifts in third person? Well, it actually causes your box to spin around just like this. And of course it's also way slower. So this is way better. Now if you run into a table like here, never ever run your box into it, as there's a very high chance that you will glitch out of your box. Instead, make a small hole and kill him with your hammer. It might be running around a little bit, and be wary of any potential holes in your box. The shooting arm that drops when you kill a tape bot can actually still destroy your blocks. Now, a pretty interesting thing is that the warehouse floors are not actually completely random. There's just a handful of preset floors that you can get. The fastest one is probably flying, as we like to call it in the community, that is. But it's also definitely the hardest one. You'd probably want to practice them either by just running or doing some clever tricks with the taliter that I'm going to show off in another video. The routes for some of those floors are not actually fully developed. And in fact, I don't think there is any skips on the bottom floor. And by skips, I mean going through walls. Alright, so that's pretty much just how you get through the floor. You just be careful of tape bots and you just punch your way through. Again, don't be afraid to experiment with your own routes. Maybe you'll find something interesting. Alright, I'm gonna skip to the next floor. One more thing, you can use the colors to guide yourself if you don't know the floors. As you can see, we're in yellow right now, and here we're coming across blue, which means we're approaching the elevator actually. As you can see, the tables are only 2 hits as well, so if you ever fall out of the box, Don't be afraid to fight back with your hammer. And here we go, here's the elevator. When you approach it, you probably want to break out of your box, click the button to call the elevator, and then start setting up the box again. Or slide right against the button, make a hole, and click the button then. Once again, remember to not have the box on your lift when in the elevator. As you can see right here, I'm currently crouched, but as soon as I go through the loading screen, I will become uncrouched and inside the blocks of my box. Which is why it's so important to crouch after changing a floor. Now you should be safe until right here. And honestly, if you're going for world record, you might even want to ditch the box completely at this point. And just YOLO for the rest of the floor. And by the way, the last floor is always exactly the same. Of course, you have to be careful because of red tape bots. The tape bot spawns are random. So a red tape bot right here is actually very unlucky because we are going to have to kill. And if we kill him from inside the box, our box will get damaged. Because as you can see, it explodes after death. So this can absolutely kill your run. But don't get discouraged because there's always the next run. Now what you want to do is place your box upright, place your lift on the side and flip it. So that you can put your toilet on the bottom. Make sure that it's closed. And I don't remember if this is necessary or not, but I always put a little bit of a pole like this. Now you grab it on your lift and go right here. Place it down, go into the seat and push yourself through the floor. As you can see, or well, can't see, we are stuck inside the vents right now because we placed it in slightly the wrong place. It's probably best to not risk it and just reposition our lift slightly. We are gonna risk it in the tutorial though, because I'm too lazy. Now there is going to be quite a few tables here probably, including possibly explosive ones. If you get an explosive one, try not to kill it actually, and not get it killed as well. If you can get an explosive one to shoot it right here, on these cracks on the wall, you can open a passage towards the end of the game. However, I've actually never seen anyone do it in a run, because it's just quite hard and really luck dependent to get a good red tape bot spawn here. Now it actually got destroyed unfortunately, but there is going to be a bunch of boxes right here. You can still see 2 of them. Right near the flag, you're going to knock a few boxes off the top, place your lift and the toilet on the lift. You can do the same thing as I did before with the box, but I'd honestly recommend ditching the box at this point. Unless maybe this is your first PB, and then you would probably want to play it safe. Let's just pretend for a moment that these boxes are the real ones. So again, you place your lift, your toilet on the lift, and you go through the floor. And I actually missed it. Here we go, just slightly more to the side. It's way easier if the box is actually there. Now at this point, you can ditch your toilet and you just run. Again, towards the blue. And right here, you can see the hole in the wall that I talked about earlier. Although again, this is very rare. So just continue going down and there is almost always a bunch of tape bots here. So you have to be really careful and lucky. Once you're past this point, you can just go through this checkpoint to the left. And here awaiting will be your elevator. From now on, this is pretty self-explanatory. You just wait for the elevator. Might be worth to actually placing a wall here so the tape bots can't see or shoot at you. And then you just jump in the elevator and of course press the button as soon as possible. Wait for the loading screen and here we are. We've finished the run. The timer is stopped as soon as the elevator doors begin to open and these walls stop moving. Subscribe for more speedrunning content and join the speedrunning Discord if you need any help. Hope you guys learned something new today and I hope to see you in another one. Bye!